When I traveled through the Duluo continent, I was snatched away by Zhao Bibi Dong. Just because I showed part of my martial spirit. They were dumbfounded and counted for a moment. Single martial spirit, twin martial spirits. 3 lives martial spirit. 4 lives martial spirits, 5 lives martial spirits. 6 lives of martial spirits, 7 lives of martial spirits, 8 lives of martial spirits, 9 lives of martial spirits. 10 lives of martial spirits. 11 life martial souls, 12 born martial souls. 13 life martial spirits. 14 lives of martial souls, 15 lives of martial souls, 16 lives of martial souls. Martial spirits of 17 lives, martial spirits of 18 lives. 19-year-old Wuan, 20-year-old Wuan, 21 Wuan. 22 martial souls. 23 martial souls. 14 lives of martial spirits, 25 lives of martial souls, 26 lives of martial souls. 27 martial souls. 28 born martial souls, 29 born martial souls. 30 years of martial spirits, 31 years of martial spirits. 32 martial souls. 33 lives of martial souls, 34 lives of martial souls. 35 life martial souls. 36 lives of martial spirits, 37 lives of martial spirits. 38 martial spirits. 39 lives of martial spirits. 40-year-old martial spirit, 41 births of martial souls, 42 births of martial souls. 43 martial souls. 44 lives of martial spirits. 45 lives of martial souls. 46 lives of martial spirits. 47 lives of martial souls, 48 lives of martial souls. 49 lives of martial souls, 50 lives of martial souls. 51 martial spirits. 52 martial souls. 53 martial souls. 54 martial souls. 55 lives of martial souls, 56 lives of martial souls. 57 lives of martial spirits. 58 lives of martial souls, 59 lives of martial souls. 60-year-old martial spirit. 61 lives of martial souls, 62 lives of martial souls. 63 lives of martial spirits. 64 lives of martial spirits. 65 lives of martial souls, 66 lives of martial souls. 67 life martial spirits. 68 born martial spirit, 69 born martial spirit. 70-year-old martial spirit. 71 lives of martial souls, 72 lives of martial souls. 73 lives of martial spirits, 74 lives of martial spirits. 75-year-old martial spirit. 76 lives of martial souls, 77 lives of martial souls. 78 lives of martial spirits. 79 lives of martial spirits, 80 lived martial spirits. 81 life martial spirit. 82 martial souls. 83-year-old martial soul, 84-year-old martial soul. 85-year-old martial spirit. 86 lives of martial spirits. 87th life martial spirit. 88-year-old martial spirit, 89 born martial spirit. 90-year-old martial spirit. 91 martial soul. 92 born martial soul. 93 is born with a martial spirit. 94 is born with a martial spirit. 95 is born with a martial spirit. 96 is born with a martial spirit. 97 is born with martial spirit. 98 is born with martial spirit. 99 martial spirits. 100 martial spirits. 101 martial spirits. 102 gives birth to martial spirit. 103 gives birth to martial spirit 1. 104 gives birth to martial spirit. 105 gives birth to martial spirit. 106 gives birth to martial spirit. 107 gives birth to martial spirit. 108 gives birth to martial spirit. 109 gives birth to martial spirit. 110 gives birth to martial spirit. 111 gives birth to martial spirit. 112 is the birth of martial spirit. 113 is the birth of martial spirit. 114 gives birth to martial spirit. 115 gives birth to martial spirit. 116 gives birth to martial spirit. 117 gives birth to martial spirit. 118 gives birth to martial spirit. 119 is the birth of martial spirit. 120 is the birth of martial spirit. 121 is the birth of martial spirit. 122 is the birth of martial spirit. 123 is the birth of martial spirit. 124 is the birth of martial spirit. 125 is the birth of martial spirit. 126 is the birth of martial spirit. 127 is the birth of martial spirit. 128 gives birth to martial spirit. 129 gives birth to martial spirit. 130 gives birth to martial spirit. 131 gives birth to martial spirit. 132 gives birth to martial spirit. 133 gives birth to martial spirit. 134 gives birth to martial spirit. 135 gives birth to martial spirit. 136 gives birth to martial spirit. 137 gives birth to martial spirit. 138 gives birth to martial spirit. 139 gives birth to martial spirit 1. 140 martial souls. 141 born Wuan. 142 gives birth to martial spirit. 143 gives birth to martial spirit. 144 gives birth to martial spirit. 145 gives birth to martial spirit. 146 gives birth to martial spirit. 147 gives birth to martial spirit. 148 gives birth to martial spirit. 140. 10-9 martial arts souls. 150 martial arts souls. 151 gives birth to martial spirit. 152 gives birth to martial spirit. 153 gives birth to martial spirit. 154 gives birth to martial spirit. 155 martial souls. 156 gives birth to martial spirit. 157 gives birth to martial spirit. 158 gives birth to martial spirit. 159 martial soul birth. 160 martial spirit birth. 161 gives birth to martial spirit. 162 gives birth to martial spirit. 163 gives birth to martial spirit. 164 is born with martial spirit. 165 is born with martial spirit. 166 is born with martial spirit. 167 is born with martial spirit. 168 martial souls. 169 is born with martial spirit. 170 is born with martial spirit. 171 is born with martial spirit. 172 is born with martial spirit. 173 gives birth to martial spirit. 174 gives birth to martial spirit. 175 gives birth to martial spirit. 176 gives birth to martial spirit. 177 gives birth to martial spirit. 178 gives birth to martial spirit. 179 born martial soul. 180 martial soul. 181 born Wuan. 182 born Wuan. 183 gives birth to martial spirit. 184 gives birth to martial spirit. 185 gives birth to martial spirit. 186 gives birth to martial spirit. 187 gives birth to martial spirit. 188 gives birth to martial spirit. 189 health spirit. 190 is born with martial spirit. 191 is born with martial spirit. 192 is born with martial spirit. 193 gives birth to martial spirit. 194 gives birth to martial spirit. 195. 196 martial souls. 197 martial arts souls. 198 martial arts souls. 100. 99 born martial soul. 200 born martial soul. 201 gives birth to a martial spirit. 202 gives birth to a martial spirit. 203 gives birth to a martial spirit. 204 gives birth to a martial spirit. 205 gives birth to a martial spirit. 206 gives birth to a martial spirit. 207 gives birth to a martial spirit. 208 gives birth to a martial spirit. 209 gives birth to a martial spirit. 210 Sheng Wuan 2. 11 martial spirits born. 212 martial spirits born. 213 born martial soul. 214 gives birth to martial spirit. 215 gives birth to martial spirit. 216 gives birth to martial spirit. 217 gives birth to martial spirit. 218 gives birth to martial spirit. 219 gives birth to martial spirit. 220 gives birth to martial spirit. 221 born martial soul. 222 give birth to martial spirit. 223 give birth to martial spirit. 224 give birth to martial spirit. 225 give birth to martial spirit. 26-year-old martial soul. 227 gives birth to martial spirit. 228 gives birth to martial spirit. 229 gives birth to martial spirit. 230 gives birth to martial spirit. 231 gives birth to martial spirit. 232 gives birth to martial spirit. 233 born Wuan. 234 gives birth to martial spirit. 235 gives birth to martial spirit. 236 gives birth to martial spirit. 237 gives birth to martial spirit. 238 gives birth to martial spirit. 139 lives of martial spirits to 140 lives of martial spirits. 241 martial spirit to 142. Birth of martial spirit. 243 birth of martial spirit. 240 for martial souls born. 245 martial souls born. 246 lives of martial souls. 247 lives of martial souls. 248 born martial soul. 249 birth of martial spirit. 250 birth of martial spirit. 251 birth of martial spirit. 252 birth of martial spirit. 253 Sheng Wuan to 54 birth of martial spirit. 255 birth of martial spirit. 256 born martial soul. 257 gives birth to martial spirit. 258 gives birth to martial spirit. 259 gives birth to martial spirit. 260 gives birth to martial spirit. 261 born martial soul. 262 Sheng Wu. 263 Sheng Wuan. 260 for Sheng Wuan. 265 gives birth to martial spirit. 266 gives birth to martial spirit. 267 gives birth to martial spirit. 268 gives birth to martial spirit. 269 gives birth to martial spirit. 270 gives birth to martial spirit. 271 gives birth to martial spirit. 272 gives birth to martial spirit. 273 gives birth to martial spirit. 274 gives birth to a martial spirit. 275 gives birth to a martial spirit. 276 gives birth to a martial spirit. 200 77 birth of martial spirit. 278 birth of martial spirit. 279 gives birth to martial spirit. 280 gives birth to martial spirit. 281 gives birth to martial spirit. 282 birth of martial spirit. 283 birth of martial spirit. 284 gives birth to a martial spirit. 285 gives birth to a martial spirit. 286 gives birth to a martial spirit. 287 gives birth to martial spirit. 288 gives birth to martial spirit. 289 gives birth to martial spirit. 290 gives birth to martial spirit. 291 gives birth to martial spirit. 292 gives birth to martial spirit. 293 gives birth to martial spirit. 294 gives birth to a martial spirit. 295 gives birth to a martial spirit. 296 gives birth to a martial spirit. 297 gives birth to a martial spirit. 298 is born with martial spirit. 299 is born with martial spirit. 300 martial souls. 301 born womb. 302 birth of martial soul. 303 birth of martial soul. 300 for birth of martial soul. 305 is born with martial spirit. 306 is born with martial spirit. 307 is born with martial spirit. 308 is born with martial spirit. 309 gives birth to martial spirit. 310 gives birth to martial spirit. 311 gives birth to martial spirit. 312 gives birth to martial spirit. 313 gives birth to martial spirit. 314 gives birth to martial spirit. 315 born martial soul. 316 gives birth to martial spirit. 317 gives birth to martial spirit. 318 gives birth to martial spirit. 319 gives birth to martial spirit. 320 health spirit. 321 born womb. 322 gives birth to martial spirit. 323 gives birth to martial spirit. 320 for Shengwon. 325 gives birth to martial spirit. 326 gives birth to martial spirit. 327 gives birth to martial spirit. 328 born womb. 329 is born with martial spirit. 330 is born with martial spirit. 331 is born with martial spirit. 332 is born with martial spirit. 333 born womb. 334 gives birth to martial spirit. 335 gives birth to martial spirit. 336 gives birth to martial spirit. 337 gives birth to martial spirit. 338 gives birth to martial spirit. 339 is born with martial spirit. 340 is born with martial spirit. 341 is born with martial spirit. 342 is born with martial spirit. 343 born womb. 344 is a martial spirit. 345 is a martial spirit. 346 is a martial spirit. 330 is a martial spirit. 17 is a martial spirit. 348 born martial soul. 349 martial soul birth. 350 martial spirit birth. 351 gives birth to martial spirit. 352 gives birth to martial spirit. 353 gives birth to martial spirit. 354 gives birth to martial spirit. 355 gives birth to martial spirit. 356 gives birth to martial spirit. 357 gives birth to martial spirit. 358 womb. 359 born womb. 360 is born with martial spirit. 361 is born with martial spirit. 362 is born with martial spirit. 363 is born with martial spirit. 364 is born with martial spirit. 365 is born with martial spirit. 366 is born with martial spirit. 367 martial spirits. 368 Shengwon. 369 born womb. 370 gives birth to martial spirit. 371 gives birth to martial spirit. 372 gives birth to martial spirit. 373 gives birth to martial spirit. 374 born martial soul. 375 martial soul birth. 376 martial spirit birth. 377 gives birth to martial spirit. 378 gives birth to martial spirit. 379 gives birth to martial spirit. 380 health spirit. 381 gives birth to martial spirit. 382 gives birth to martial spirit. 383 gives birth to martial spirit. 384 gives birth to martial spirit. 385 gives birth to martial spirit. 386 gives birth to martial spirit. 387 martial soul birth. 388 martial spirit birth. 389 born womb. 390 is born with martial spirit. 391 is born with martial spirit. 392 born womb. 393 gives birth to martial spirit. 394 gives birth to martial spirit. 395 gives birth to martial spirit. 396 gives birth to martial spirit. 397 martial soul birth. 398 martial spirit birth. 399 martial souls born, 400 martial souls born. 401 gives birth to martial spirit, 402 gives birth to martial spirit, 403 gives birth to martial spirit, 404 gives birth to martial spirit. 105 lives of martial spirits, 406 lives of martial spirits. 407 born martial soul. 408 gives birth to martial spirit, 409 gives birth to martial spirit, 410 gives birth to martial spirit. 411 gives birth to martial spirit, 412 gives birth to martial spirit. 413 gives birth to a martial spirit, 414 gives birth to a martial spirit, 415 gives birth to a martial spirit. 416 gives birth to martial spirit, 417 gives birth to martial spirit. 118 lives of martial spirits, 419 lives of martial spirits. 420 gives birth to martial spirit, 421 gives birth to martial spirit. Soul 422 gives birth to martial spirit, 423 gives birth to martial spirit. 420 14th life martial spirit, 425 life martial spirit. 426 born martial souls. 127 martial souls. 428 martial spirits. 429 martial souls, 430 martial souls. For 131 martial spirit, 430 to martial spirits. 433 born martial spirits. 430 for martial souls born, 435 martial souls born. 436 gives birth to martial spirit, 437 gives birth to martial spirit. 438 gives birth to martial spirit, 439 gives birth to martial spirit, 440 gives birth to martial spirit. 441 born Wuan. 140 to martial souls. 443 lives of martial souls, 440 for lives of martial souls. 445 born martial souls. 446 lives of martial souls. 447 lives of martial spirits, 448 lives of martial spirits. 449 martial spirits. 450 life martial spirits, 450 life martial spirits. 452 lives of martial souls, 453 lives of martial souls. 450 for lives of martial spirits. 455 born martial souls. 456 lives of martial spirits. 457 martial souls. 458 born martial soul. 459 born martial soul. 460 is born with martial spirit. 461 is born with martial spirit. 462 is born with martial spirit. 463 is born with martial spirit. 460 gives birth to martial spirit. 465 gives birth to martial spirit. 466 gives birth to martial spirit. 467 gives birth to martial spirit. 468 gives birth to martial spirit. 469 gives birth to martial spirit. 470 born martial soul. 471 born Wuan. 172 rebirths of martial souls. 473 rebirths of martial souls. 474 born martial souls. 475 born martial souls. 476 lives, 400 martial souls. 77 born martial soul. 478 gives birth to martial spirit. 479 gives birth to martial spirit. 480 hell spirit. 481 gives birth to martial spirit. 482 gives birth to martial spirit. 483 gives birth to a martial spirit. 484 gives birth to a martial spirit. 485 gives birth to a martial spirit. 486 gave birth to martial spirit. 487 gave birth to martial spirit. 488 gave birth to martial spirit. 489 gave birth to martial spirit. 490 born martial soul. 191 life martial spirit. 492 born martial spirits. 493 martial souls. 494 births of martial souls. 495 births of martial souls. 496 gives birth to martial spirit. 497 gives birth to martial spirit. 498 born martial soul. 499 martial souls. 500 martial souls. 501 martial souls. 500 to martial souls. Wuan 5 103 lives. Wuan 500 for lives. Wuan 505 lives. Martial spirit 506 begets martial spirit. 507 begets martial spirit. 508. Birth of martial spirit 509 birth of martial spirit. 510 gives birth to martial spirit. 511 gives birth to martial spirit. 512 gives birth to martial spirit. 113 martial spirits. 514 martial spirits. 515 gives birth to martial spirit. 516 gives birth to martial spirit. 517 gives birth to martial spirit. 518 gives birth to martial spirit. 519 produces martial spirit. 520 produces martial spirit. 521 produces martial spirit. 522 produces martial spirit. 523 gives birth to martial spirit. 524 gives birth to martial spirit. 525 gives birth to martial spirit. 526 gives birth to martial spirit. 527 martial soul 500. 28 martial soul birth. 529 martial spirit birth. 530 gives birth to martial spirit. 531 gives birth to martial spirit. 532 gives birth to martial spirit. 533 gives birth to martial spirit. 534 gives birth to martial spirit. 535 Shengwen. 536 gives birth to martial spirit. 537 gives birth to martial spirit. 538 gives birth to martial spirit. 539 gives birth to martial spirit. 540 health spirit. 541 Shen Wu 5. 142 lives of martial spirits. 543 lives of martial spirits. 544 gives birth to martial spirit. 545 gives birth to martial spirit. 546 gives birth to martial spirit. 547 gives birth to martial spirit. 548 Wuan. 549 born martial soul. 550 health spirit. 550 lifetime martial spirit. 552 martial souls. 553 martial souls. 550 for martial souls. 555 Wuan. 556 gives birth to martial spirit. 557 gives birth to martial spirit. 558 gives birth to martial spirit. 559 gives birth to martial spirit. 560 health spirit. 561 martial soul. 562 give birth to martial soul. 563 give birth to martial soul. 564 gives birth to martial spirit. 565 gives birth to martial spirit. 566 gives birth to martial spirit. 567 Sheng Wu 5. 168 martial souls. 569 martial souls. 570 martial souls. 571 life martial spirits. 572 born martial souls. 573. 574 born martial souls. Sheng Wuhan 5. 175. 576 gives birth to martial spirit. 577 gives birth to martial spirit. 578 gives birth to martial spirit. 579 born martial soul. 580 health spirit. 581 is born with martial spirit. 582 is born with martial spirit. 583 is born with martial spirit. 584 is born with martial spirit. 585 is born with martial spirit. 586 is born with martial spirit. 587 is born with martial spirit. 588 is born with martial spirit. 589 born Wuan. 590 is born with martial spirit. 591 is born with martial spirit. 592 is born with martial spirit. 593 is born with martial spirit. 594 born martial soul. 595 is born with martial spirit. 596 is born with martial spirit. 597 is born with martial spirit. 598 is born with martial spirit. 599 born martial soul.